Hi, this is David at Mash IT, and tonight this is a review I've been looking forward to a long time, especially for how long it's taken us to get this model in the UK. We're going to be reviewing the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4. Now I have seen that there is a few reviews of this model on the internet, but I haven't seen any of the maxed out i9 with RTX 3080, 64GB of RAM and a 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD. So that is what I've got into the studio tonight. I'm really looking forward to putting it through its paces. Now I really enjoy reviewing these slim and light workstations almost as much as I enjoy reviewing the gaming laptops that we have on the channel. And to me, the ThinkPads with its industrial design are one of the best in the business. And I much prefer ThinkPads than I do for, say, the Dell XPS range. So let's start taking a look around it and put it through its paces. So before we sort of dig into the review, I just want to mention that this is an expensive laptop. Because we've got the maxed out model here, if you pay list price in the UK, you're talking over 3,000 UK pounds for this model. Absolutely crazy price. Now this came up in the UK on sale just after Black Friday for £2,399, which to me is a much more realistic price for such a laptop. And considering you are getting the 11th gen i9 processor, an RTX 3080, a 600 nit 4K plus screen, as well as 64GB of RAM, which is upgradable, and a 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD, that's really not bad value, and actually came in slightly cheaper than our lesser spec XPS 9710 that we reviewed recently. Now, as this one is the 600 nit 4K plus display, we're treated to the carbon fibre weave on the outside. If you get the stock base panel, which is a 1600p 400 nit, you do get the standard sort of matte black finish. Now the matte black finish is a real fingerprint magnet, and although it does feel great, it will pick up all your oils and greases off your fingerprint. At least with this carbon fibre weave, it does a better job of hiding the smudges and the fingerprints on the outside of the laptops. It does look a little bit nicer for longer. And as usual with the ThinkPad, we get the nice little logo in the corner with the shining red dot when it's in sleep mode. You can see that sort of flashing in and out. And on the other side, we have just a little Lenovo logo. So it is very minimalist. It looks great in my opinion. Let's have a look at the ports. Now, on the left-hand side of the laptop, we've got the standard slim tip Lenovo power supply. We've got two Thunderbolt 4 ports. We've got an HDMI 2 port, and we have a headset jack. And as we switch around to the right side, we've got a Kensington lock, two USB 3 ports, and a full-size card reader. So for a workstation, a slim and light workstation, that is a really good port selection. And much better than the XPS range, in my opinion, just because I love having some legacy ports, such as the USB 3.1 ports. And as we're talking about the Lenovo Slim Tip adapter, something I must mention, because I do have the 3080 model in this laptop, you do get a slightly bigger power brick than you normally expect in a slim and light workstation. Here you can see the 230 watt power supply. Now, it's very slim. It's not a bad looking power supply, but this is much bigger than your typical, as I say, workstation power supply, such as with your XPSs. If you buy the base model, you will get a much smaller power supply. I believe that comes with a 170 watts. But if you buy the 3060 or 3070 or 3080, I think they all come with this 230 watt power adapter. So do prepare yourself for that if you're buying one of these. Now, opening up the laptop is a nice one-handed affair. It opens up to 180 degrees, as you can see there. Now the hinge is smooth, as you can see you can open it with one hand, but it's still very solid. So you're not going to get any screen wobble when you are typing with this on a desk, or even if you're typing with it on your lap. That's something that I do love about these premium sort of Lenovo ThinkPad laptops. Now as we look at the actual deck of the machine, you can see we've got the matte black soft touch finish. Now, as per the outside of the base model, this palm rest really does pick up fingerprints and finger oils as you're using it. So this does look grubby quite fast, so you're going to need to keep a cleaning cloth with you. But the one thing I do love about it, it's such a comfortable laptop to rest your hands on when you're actually typing and working on the machine. As you can see, we've got the ThinkPad logo on the bottom right, and on the bottom left, you get all your lovely stickers that these ThinkPads come with. I don't know why we're doing this on premium laptops, but there we are. At least they're stuck on reasonably straight, so that's not too bad. Now, the trackpad itself also has the matte finish. So although it is a glass trackpad, they have given it a very sort of soft touch finish. Now personally, I much prefer a smooth glass finish, such as on a razor blade or a Surface Book. They glide more easily. But as touchpads go, it's responsive and it works well, but it's definitely no MacBook Pro 16 touchpad. Now moving up to the keyboard, we come to one of my biggest gripes with this laptop. As they've changed the design of this machine this year, one of the areas that, in my opinion, they've really decreased the quality on is the actual keyboard. Now, the X1 Extremes Gen 1 to 3 had probably one of the best typing experience keyboards I've ever come across. It had deep travel yet crisp keys with a lovely concave keycap. And unfortunately, as we move to this model, it's very much like the X1 Carbon Gen 9. We've got 1.5mm of travel and the keys are flat. Now, after I got over this initial disappointment and using this machine to actually work and type on, I got used to it very quickly and I do enjoy typing on it, but it's no longer the cream of the crop in this area, and it's now just very much like your XPS or MacBook Pro type keyboard. So it is still one of the better keyboards in the business, but any die-hard ThinkPad users that are used to the previous X1 Extremes or other ThinkPad laptops are going to be disappointed here. But still, the actual keyboard layout is very good on this laptop, as they always have been on ThinkPads. There's no compromises to the key layout, and you've got the sort of the dedicated cursor keys outside of the keyboard, which is something I love. I hate it when they crush that into the actual keyboard itself. And it has a 2-stage white backlight on the keyboard. Now, the backlight isn't the brightest in the world, and you will only see it in a dark environment. And another little bug that I find with ThinkPads is the fact that when you've turned or restarted the computer and you go back into it, it doesn't remember your backlight settings. It's always off. You have to turn it on. They've probably done that for battery life. Maybe it's something you can adjust in BIOS. That's something I'm going to have to look into. And because it's a ThinkPad, the function and the control keys are reversed to most other Windows laptops. Now, again, if you're used to ThinkPads, you're going to be used to this. And if you're used to other Windows laptops and you move to a ThinkPad, if you can't get used to it, in Vantage or the BIOS, you can swap that back to the normal Windows layout. And in the middle of the keyboard, as per usual ThinkPad, we've got the track point sort of nub and the buttons down below. Now, this is one of the sort of iconic features that you get with a ThinkPad. I keep trying to get myself to use it, but I'm so used to using touchpads because I'm using different laptops day in, day out. I can't get used to using this. But I know a lot of die-hard ThinkPad users much prefer it to an actual touchpad. Now, either side of the keyboard, we've now got upward firing speakers. And I'm pleased to say that this is an area that they've really massively improved on this year. Now, one of the things with the X1 Extremes Gen 1 to Gen 3, the speakers were very lackluster. So when I fired up some audio in this laptop, I was genuinely impressed. And they sound like this. Speaker test at 40% volume. Now up to 60. And try 100%, it's going to be pretty loud. So pretty loud at about 84 decibels at maximum volume, but the speakers do start to blow a little bit. But other than that, pretty good sound quality, very good for a Windows laptop. So as you can see, not quite MacBook Pro 16 quality, but then no other laptop is. That's just in a league of its own. But for a Windows laptop, very good speakers. Now on the top right of the actual deck, we've got the fingerprint reader enabled power button. Really handy and works reliably, especially if you don't choose to upgrade to the Windows IR camera upgrade. Now personally, I love Windows Hello. It's my favourite way of logging into a Windows laptop, so we did get that upgrade, and that's logged us in consistently and reliably. But if you do prefer to disable your webcam, obviously Windows IR Hello won't work. It's nice to have the power button as a backup to log in. Now, as I mentioned, disabling your webcam, we do come with the actual Think shutter, which is a little switch at the top, which mechanically locks off the webcam. So for the security conscious among us that does want to actually lock off the webcam, a simple flick of this switch, there's a little red dot which denotes that the webcam is switched off. You know that no one's going to be spying on you. Now the webcam is a 1080p webcam and it looks like this. And this is a test of the 1080p webcam and microphones on the Lenovo X1 Extreme Gen 4. So then moving on to the screen, this is one of the standout features of this laptop, and we've upgraded it to the 600 nit 4K plus screen. Now we've chosen the matte non-touch version because I can't stand touchscreen laptops, and I love matte, especially on a laptop I'm going to be working in different client sites. I can't control my lighting. I like a bright matte screen because you can even use it outside if you need to. Now there is obviously a touch-enabled version if you do like a touchscreen, and there is a base panel which is a 1600p 400 nit, and if I'm honest, for a lot of people I'd recommend for that option because that does give you better battery life, because this screen, it will eat your battery, and we will talk about that a little bit later. But the screen itself is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the best looking screens I've used on a laptop, and I do love the brightness. I love the color gamut on it. Everything looks saturated and crisp. It's just an incredible panel and well worth the upgrade if battery life isn't your priority. Now, before we talk about the performance of this machine and the thermals, I want to just quickly open it up and have a look inside. Now, the laptop is very easy to open. I've got 7 captive screws, just quickly undone them, and then you can just pry the plate right off. Very easy to open, which is a really nice feature with these laptops. So looking inside, you can see we've got 2 RAM slots. So if you don't bother paying for the 64 gig upgrade or the 32 gig upgrade, you can upgrade that yourself later. And we have just one SSD, one M.2 SSD. We've got a 90 watt battery which runs right along the front of the laptop, and the rest of the area is a vapor chamber cooler that you get with the 3060, the 3070 or the 3080, this being the 3080. And you obviously need that to be able to pump the heat out of this hot card out of this laptop. If you do get the 3050 Ti, you do get a standard, just a heat sink with that model, and that is how they allow you to have a second M.2 because you haven't got all this vapor chamber plate here, and also a cellular option. There's just literally no room to fit it with this model. So the weight of the laptop. So the laptop weighs 1.976 kilograms. So that's incredibly light for a 16-inch laptop. But despite being so light, it feels really solid. I've got no worries about chucking this thing around in my bag. It doesn't feel like, well, it feels like it's built like a tank. That's something I've always loved about these ThinkPads. So how well does this vapor chamber setup work? Well, we need to remember this is no gaming laptop. The GPU is a 100 watt model, and the laptop itself can only dissipate about 110 watts. So with the i9 CPU also in use, the 3080 will sit at around 70 to 80 watts. Now this is just about half the wattage of gaming laptops such as the X17 or the Legion 7. Comparing a couple of benchmarks with the X17, you can see how much performance you are losing out by choosing a multimedia machine over a gaming laptop. Running a few rounds of Apex over a couple of hours stint showed no signs of throttling, and this is great news, though I have to be honest, going back to a 60Hz screen is really hard work when used to a responsive high refresh gaming laptop screen. Also, another great feature on this laptop is it does actually have a mux switch, and the Thunderbolts are wired into the Nvidia GPU, unlike the XPS range. This is really handy when you want to plug into an external screen. So obviously, the gaming performance isn't going to be as good as a gaming laptop. This is a productivity laptop that's aimed at a different crowd. The X1 Extreme is work first with a bit of gaming on the side, and this is where it excels. Video editing, 3D modelling, or a bit of Unity game design was absolutely no challenge for this machine. Now the laptop uses the Windows power slider to adjust its performance profiles, and this is very handy and nice and easy to be able to change. I mostly keep the machine in balance mode, as this is the best mix of noise and performance. Running Cinebench R23 on the different profiles shows you how much difference the profiles make. And when utilising the best performance profile, the i9 scored 11,212, which is pretty impressive for a slim and light laptop. And Geekbench 5 also showed a similar trend. With regards to the 3D benchmarks, the 3080 scores pretty low thanks to its restricted wattage and scores more in line with a 3060 or a 3070. I don't recommend anybody buy the 3080 unless you really need those CUDA cores for your work. The 3060 would be a much better pairing for this chassis. So onto the heat and fans. Now this is pretty good news. The fans, although loud, will max out at about 52 decibels on the best performance profile. Switching it down to the balanced or better battery profiles had a big impact on the noise. Heat on the base of the laptop or the keyboard was not an issue, so good work there, Lenovo. Overall, considering this is a slim and light productivity laptop, this is impressive performance. Now all of this power and a 600 nit 4K plus screen comes at a price, and that's its battery life. In our usual YouTube streaming test at 50% brightness and 50% volume, we got just over 6 hours of battery life, which although average for a Windows laptop, is laughable when you compare it to the MacBook Pro 16's 21 hours of battery. Now the stock 1600p 400 nit panel would give you better battery life, so you may want to consider that option if battery is important to you. Performance was very good on battery though, with the laptop feeling just as snappy in day-to-day use as when you're running it on mains power. Well, I've been waiting for this machine to arrive for a long time, and it's definitely been worth the wait. I've really enjoyed using this machine for the last couple of weeks. Now, it's difficult not to draw comparisons with both obviously the MacBook Pro 16 and the XPS 9710, which we previously reviewed, but this one certainly stands out in its own way. Not only do you get incredible performance options with the likes of an RTX 3080, which is pretty much unheard of in a slim and light sort of workstation like this, but you're also getting quite a unique system that is slim and light with a nice 16-inch screen, a great array of ports, and just a solid all-round package. Plus you have the advantage that the RAM and the SSD is upgradable. You've got the usual think quality, sort of military standards and build quality, and the screen is absolutely beautiful. Now that is the Achilles heel on this particular laptop. This 4K screen, although beautiful, does provide a short battery life, and this may be a deal breaker to some, especially after the MacBook Pro 16's incredible 20-odd hour light use battery life. Nothing like on the Windows at the moment can come even close to that. And I know this will disappoint people at about 5 hours, or just over 5 hours, with this screen. But if battery life is important and you like this laptop, then definitely look at the base model, because that will probably get you at least another hour or two of battery life over this 4K Plus panel. But me personally, I'm not always overly bothered about battery life. I want the best image quality that the laptop can provide for the work that I'm doing. So for me, I'd rather have a slightly lower battery life and this screen, which is absolutely amazing. And just also again, for the die-hard ThinkPad users out there, the keyboard, although still more than usable and is still a great keyboard, is a big step back by Lenovo. Just like they did with the X1 Carbon Gen 9, they've done exactly the same with this X1 Extreme. And obviously I know this is going to upset a lot of ThinkPad sort of die-hard users, because they do love, and I can totally understand why, I like a good keyboard. Having spent some time using the machine though, I can certainly get past that, and it's still a great machine to use. Great ergonomics, a good trackpad, keyboard, screen and speakers this year, which is a really good all-round X1 Extreme package, and has certainly fixed a lot of the niggles we had with the previous X1 Extremes. So as far as I'm concerned, this is still an absolutely solid buy. It is expensive, just like the XPS, just like the MacBook, this class of laptop. And to get a top spec model like this, you're looking to pay well over £2,000 or dollars. Again, with Lenovo and like Dell, you never ever pay list price. Always wait for a good coupon or discount. And as I say, this one, although listed at over £3,000 in the UK, it's often on sale. And I picked this up for $2,400. This makes a great price for what you're getting here. A solid over-round workstation. And you can game on it too. So let me know what you think of this laptop. Would you buy this over the XPS? Do you think it's worth the money, or maybe you should get a gaming laptop instead, or even the MacBook Pro? Drop your comments down below, let me know what you think, and as always I'll get back to you. And lastly, thank you for watching.